For him, like this wonder kid from Berlin, it's like the furthest away from California, ended up going pro for one of the biggest brands in skateboarding. It doesn't seem real.
I like Berlin because first, I was born here, I grew up here. There's all my friends from, growing up. A lot of young people, a lot of skateboards, skate parks.
I've been in Berlin since about 2005, and the scene has just grown exponentially.
I started skating in '88. It was a skate scene maybe with 40 people. Today it's probably, I don't know, a couple hundred people in Berlin.
Skate-wise, Berlin has a lot to offer. It's like the new Barcelona. I mean, Justin is coming from some of the suburbs. There's so much stuff that didn't get explored because most of the people just hang out in the middle of the city. I was born in West Berlin. Back in the days when the wall was still up, when I was 16 and it got torn down. The evening it happened was really crazy. Imagine living in Berlin, it's '89, and then in spring '90 we had like a whole new city for us because we've been all over West Berlin. And then like in '90, East Berlin was available, and we had like a whole new playground. It was like East Berlin, Alexanderplatz and everything. It was so chock full of spots, it was like, what the fuck's going on here?
That's Alexanderplatz. That's pretty much the place where I started skating. Every day there's some people here. You don't have to call someone, you just go and you find. They're selling like fake gold chains. There I bought my first fake gold chains, always. Looks like from the bike chain. That was the place I always wanted to go when I had training sessions, Because everyone was here and I was at training and I was like, fuck, I'm missing out all the skate sessions. Played from 5 or 6 till 11. You watch players like Cristiano Ronaldo or big players and you're like, I want to be like them, playing in a big stadium and stuff. Yeah, that was my dream back then.
What made you stop playing soccer?
I met a friend and he brought the skateboard to the training sometimes. I was like, dang, let me try. I was like, whoa, first step on the board, like, fuck, but it looked so fun, I saw it was like a super freedom feeling, I just started to not going to the trainings anymore. I said to the trainer too, I'm done, I found something new. My friend, he gave me a setup. First week, I got stuck on a rock. My board fall down the street, car over, broken. Second setup he gave me, I tried ollie out of a bus. Again I fall, my board run under the bus and I see, no. Tried to catch it, but I was too scared. Second board gone. And he was pissed, like, I gave you 2 boards, what are you doing? The name of this place called Ring Park. Remember I did my first crooked on this obstacle, the bank to ledge. My first frontside big spin on the stairs. Also in this park, I filmed my couple tricks for my sponsor on the tape back in the days. At this point, we didn't know it only have to be street clips or something, We filmed couple street clips, couple skate park clips.
I think the first time we met, he was maybe 11 or 12 years old. He was a little kid, he was motivated.
Our older friend Timo, he was like 18 or something, and we were like 12, 13. my homie was like, hey, look, I can do this now. And I was like, I can do this. You know, like, just showing him, you know, making him proud.
I remember the first time that we talked, he was just asking me if we go there more often, because he used to live in the northern part of Berlin and the skate park is in the southern part, so it's kind of a pretty long journey. Naturally, we just ran into each other there pretty often. I would say I was better at some point. But because of that, I could teach him a lot of stuff.
He was like our big brother, you know. I remember we smoked our first cigarette. He took my tobacco and put it in a trash can, you know. He picked me up at home with his car and we drove to the skate park. He made me do my first board slide. Like, when he was around, I was not scared, you know. I wanted to show him what I can do, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he has good parents, yeah, but they had to work all the time and he was off on his own with his friends, so I would say skateboarding raised him pretty well.
I think in general, skateboarding might have saved his life, to say it that way, because I don't know which way he would have gone without skateboarding, because the way he grew up and what his parents, how they raised him, what they taught him, I think there were a few things missing that he probably learned from the homies through skateboarding and meeting people and being outside so much.
Yeah, I guess the fact that he didn't maybe have the best upbringing led to him focusing on skateboarding totally, because I mean, if you don't want to be home as a kid because you don't know what to do there, you try to do something better out on the streets, and in this case it was skateboarding, and he fully immersed into it, and I guess to some degree it was good for him how he was raised for his skateboarding.
He had like his Justin Bieber haircut. Didn't really talk about anything, just skate, and he just did kickflips every day, all the time, yeah.
He was like a kickflip kid, because that's basically all he could do. But even though he had very limited tricks, they already had like proper execution. You could see that he got the basics down very fast and yeah, very perfectly, I would say. I was teaching him 360 flips. It was pretty long, maybe 1 or 2 hours just trying and not landing it, and landing primo, falling down, screaming, throwing the board around and stuff like. It was very passionate from the beginning.
I saw this little guy. He must have been 13, 14 maybe. He reminded me a little bit of me when I started skating. After a while, you could tell, like months to months, he was getting better. You know, he was like, I could tell, okay, he's a talent.
He picked up very fast. His progression was pretty insane.
This is the spot called Polendenkmal. After we got a little bit better in skating, we went here because there's more stairs. I met a friend because he wanted to do kickflip the 8th stair and I wanted to do it as well. And I remember he came to me, hey, I heard you want to do kickflip the 8th stair. Can I have your number? Let's try together. And then we changed numbers. And then we met up to try kickflip the 8th stair. Because that was like the main thing. I can't jump the 8th stair, you know, like crazy. I remember we were going to contests a lot. First time seeing a contest, seeing people winning, like seeing the hype, you know, the good vibes. 1, 2 years later, I started skating my first contest.
He usually really dominated those kids' contests. He had a lot of perfect runs always, and people see that, you know, if you see a small kid just ripping the contest, yeah, you just notice.
He made an impression for sure because he was already really stylish and his trick selection was also top-notch. So it was like, okay, let's keep an eye on this one because he's by far the most interesting starter today. So we kept an eye and everything turned out good, so to say. We snatched him.
There was a contest in Berlin called New Kids on the Block. And yeah, I won that contest. And then they came to me, yo, come with us. We show you something. And they had the office right next to the skate park. I went there, I saw so many boards. First time in my life. They were like, hey, take some boards. I was like, no way. Like, took like 4 or 5 decks. First time, I was like, whoa. I came out of the office to my homies. Bro, I got on radio, look, look, look. That was gnarly feeling.
Once he got sponsored by them, that was a big part for him. It's a well-known brand here in Berlin and in Germany as well.
Radio played a big role, I think, in Berlin back in the days, and still until now. But back in the days, like the OG team they had, and they all just fit together so good, and the way of doing videos and stuff just made it look super cool to me.
When I moved to Berlin, the radio guys took me in, and it's like those are like homies through and through. Justin was kind of like this wonder kid. Like he was so damn good. Kickflips were just unreal, and like over the years, you just see him getting better and better and better. And
when he grew in size, that's when he got like more pop and more capabilities of doing other things. And I always thought if he just keeps doing it, he will end up somewhere in skateboarding.
I mean, Justin was like really a fresh breeze for us because all the older guys on the team suddenly were like, oh my God, who is he? What the fuck's going on? Oh, I should start skating more. That was really funny. He was skating so good at such a young age, and he was progressing so fast that it was like, where does all those new tricks come from? Like I said, he was like really shy at the beginning, and a lot of people didn't get that he was shy. Everybody thought he was thinking it was something better.
I feel like most people get him wrong because Justin is shy and quiet, and that might seem arrogant in a way for some people, and he's misunderstood a lot, I think, from this. But if you actually get to know him a little better, then you can tell he's a really good guy who loves his friends and is funny.
No way!
First time I met him was actually when I already lived in Barcelona, but we went on a trip to Berlin. And one day, there were like a bunch of kids, like Justin and his friends. I remember, I think he laser flipped a double set. And I was like, wow, who's this guy? A little kid can laser flip a big double set that usually only the big dogs have skated. So I was like, whoa, it's crazy.
it just got to a point where like we were filming this video part together. He's just like, I want to do it because I can only go so far with Raider. Those guys have supported me all this time. And I was just like, I might have an idea for you, but it's just like, you just got to trust me on this. I got some friends. I'm going to make some phone calls. If it's responsive, it's great. If not, like you made an effort. So
I remember one day, Mark Nichols, he asked me, yo, could you imagine to skate for Santa Cruz?
Friend Andrew Cannon, who went on a few trips with over the last few years, ended up becoming brand manager of Santa Cruz. Then I found out another skater I worked with for years, Nick Matlin, became the team manager. For me, it was just like I saw the puzzle pieces, like that's it. Like
I remember I told Andrew, I was like, I don't know, the screaming hand, so rock and roll, I'm hip hop. I'm not sure, like. And then my friends were like, bro, this is, do it, like, straight up, filmed the part, and then they turned me am. And then, yeah, thank you, Mark Nichols. He was the man.
I saw an opportunity there, and I was like, hey, Justin, let's try it. Like, I'll reach out, and then the rest is up to you. He hustled and made his dream come true. It's cheesy to say, but you have to have that it factor. And I saw that it factor in Justin from so long ago. Yeah. When he went to Tampa Am, got to meet Nick and won the G Award that year. It was kind of like he did his part, and then it was just letting like the rest kind of fall into place.
He went to Tampa on radio and came back on Santa Cruz. So I was like, okay, you won the G Award and a new sponsor, motherfucker, okay.
Arne is a really good guy and I felt bad.
Yeah.
And one homie said, just buy him a six-pack of Berliner beer. I bought a six-pack. I was like, yo, Arne, I have a six-pack and we have to talk. I have to leave. Like, I didn't know what to say, you know. And, he was probably like expecting like a more growing up sentences of me, but like, I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
When he first told me I was riding for Santa Cruz, I was like, Santa Cruz? Okay, I didn't really see him on Santa Cruz, to be honest. But now I think it's a really good match. With all the other guys on the team now, it's a good combination with him.
It's a big thing for him and for us as well. Just having your friend here from Berlin skate for a big American brand, that was something special.
Yeah, dude! That shit was nice, dude!
Oh my. What was it like when you met some of the Santa Cruz team for the first time?
well, it was funny. I was so shy. I remember I did jokes the whole time and they were laughing because of my English. And this is how we got together, you know. There was straight away like, wow, this is not on some we just partners shit. It was like friends and family stuff, you know. That I felt welcome and I feel good here, you know.
Nice.
I love everyone.
I think Justin liked going on missions with me and liked those little Barcelona trips a lot. And one day he hit me up, hey Ludi, I'm moving to Barcelona. I'm like, for how long? He's like, forever, I'm gonna stay.
I finished school and I got my first sponsor that paid me. And I was like, yo, Ludi, I think I should move to Barcelona and we can go film.
It was really maybe my best years in Barcelona, looking back, because he was the most motivated guy I had out there and a really good friend at this point already, so it was great.
A lot of skating every day, going out every day in the street, partying together, laughing every day, like, that was crazy times. I'm thankful he was always there for me, like, you know, when I did some fucked up shit, he was like, hey, come, we have to talk, like, you know, watch out, like, focus, you know. He's also a big part of who I am right now, like, always there for me, big brother, you know. I got paid every 3 months, and sometimes I spent my money in 1 month, you know, because I didn't know how to handle money. You know, this one point, like, hey, Ludi, I don't have money to eat. He always gave me food. He said, hey, come to my apartment, we eat breakfast together. Or gave me, hey, you have $100, but don't spend it on bullshit. Just eat with that money.
I think there's many guys who move to Barcelona actually and have the dream of becoming a sponsored or professional skateboarder, and then they get caught up in the party life very quick, because there's, just like in Berlin, probably party everywhere, every night, in the streets sometimes, at the beach, the weather is good, so yeah, I've seen a few guys who had the possibility or the chance to turn pro or whatever, and they just got caught up in these things and didn't make it.
Especially in Berlin, everyone kind of goes into that phase where you just go partying each weekend, and you also learn from those nights and stuff like that. But it's just natural that everyone wants to go into clubs and have fun with your friends and stuff, but you can't really do much about it. People have to learn for themselves.
Some people are able to cope with it and some people ain't. And if you're more into the party aspect of skateboarding, you can easily get lost.
Everyone is partying. Like, I grew up even like with 14, 13 years old, so you kind of grow into that, you know, and you need to know how to balance.
All the skaters are like in different ages, right? So he had like older friends too, so he got into party pretty early.
Justin had a group of, I would not say friends, but people he was partying with that we didn't even hang out with, and I always told him, like, the next day when you wake up hungover, they're not there, they don't call you, we're the ones hitting you up going to skate, so it's not really your friends and not really good influence on you, so at some point I was kind of like, damn, if he keeps going like this, he might fuck up and lose maybe some sponsors and stuff. And he almost did in the end, so I think now he's doing better.
After Barcelona, I grew up a lot, like learned a lot of things. You know, when you're 18, you move to a different country with money, you're free, you have no parents. You know, for sure, you just have to learn first. I had to learn by myself or from my older friends, you know, 10, 11. I was already smoking sometimes, walking, doing bullshit on the streets, you know. I got arrested 2 times. Once for stealing graffiti pens, because I didn't have money. And you know, when you're young, you walk around the street, you're like, what can we do? We wrote graffiti. And the second time, me and my friend, we were smoking weed, tried to get to my apartment, and we tried to go out of the train, and the police catched us. Yo, get on the wall. And you know, 13, 14 years old kids, we were like shocked, like fuck. Like, my only thing was like, please don't call my parents, please, you know. I had to call my dad. I got arrested for weed, and they're like, what the fuck? We didn't even know you smoked weed. And then they had to pick me up, and yeah. For them, it was not easy either, you know. Like, they got me when I was 18. When you're 18, you're still growing, you're not ready to grow up a kid, you know. That's why I'm not too mad at some things, you know. I can understand.
He definitely, from the first time I met him to now, he changed a lot, and he learned a lot from his mistakes and just from living. I mean, everyone learns from their mistakes, right? So he just learned through skateboarding and through his friends. And yeah, he turned out pretty well, I think, I would say.
Also, he's doing like 1-foot ollies, which is like an old school trick. But he's a young kid. When I first saw him do that, I was like, damn, he's crazy.
Sammy Hariti. He always doing 1 foot, 180 1 foot, and that was my inspiration.
Justin is doing 1 foot the proper way, you know. It makes me proud because like it's also a trick that connected us. The way he's doing his tricks, he makes it look easy, and that's it.
Sammy, he's a legend, man. It's my favorite person, man. Like, I love this guy. When I feel bad, he's always there. We go on a walk, 1 hour, just talking. Inspires me in skateboarding and life. Just his positive energy.
I would say Sammy Hariti is the best German skateboarder ever. And the fact that he's still doing it like 30 years later with such a grace and everything. And definitely Sammy has a big influence on Justin, just for the fact that he's like always positive. You know, Sammy is at the spot and he's the life of the party. And you can have a really bad day and you see Sammy and he just smiles at you once and you forgot that you have a bad day.
It's always fun to be with Justin, to hang with him, to skate with him, because he's very funny, and it's just, he often brings a smile to my face. We are all part of his surprise tomorrow, so I'm also excited. I think he will be shocked in a positive way. Maybe he's starting crying. I'm starting crying, I don't know. So
This is called Kulturforum. It's one of the main spots that everybody comes to. After this, we will go over to Civilist Skate Shop and surprise Justin with his board.
We're at Civilist Skate Shop, local shop that Justin rides for. And we got a bunch of his boards inside on the wall. He doesn't know that yet.
Mainly everybody's gonna hide kind of in the back room or like courtyard. So when he comes in, he thinks it's the regular day at the shop that we're gonna go film the owner and interview him and stuff. And I hope he'll notice that his board is on the wall. Maybe he just walks past it. And once he sees it, the homies will come rushing in and let him know that, surprise.
We're just gonna try to make this as lit as we can. Yeah, gonna surprise the hell out of this motherfucker.
In terms of skateboarding, that's like the end goal, right? If you have the opportunity, that's gonna be some dreams come true.
going to be excited when he gets his board and turn pro finally, because he worked so hard for it and so long, and he filmed so many video parts, and I think it was not easy for him to make it, but now finally the time's coming.
Go, go, go. Let's go.
I'm proud of him. It makes me happy because he made it. I was part of seeing the whole process and where he's at now. He's in good hands with you guys, with the company, Santa Cruz.
I mean, I remember when I grew up skating, you have to go to the United States. You have to be there. You have to be where the company is based to make it in skating. And nowadays it's so much easier. You have your phone, you have Instagram, and when all those things started, I was like, damn, Europe can actually also become a thing. For Justin coming up, I think he had the opportunity to stay here and make it, which is great.
Justin didn't squander an opportunity. I saw the superstar in him beforehand, and it was just like, I want him to have a long, illustrious skateboard career and actually be able to experience even half of this stuff that I experienced as like a filmer throughout the years, traveling and getting to see the world. So if he gets the opportunity to do that with Santa Cruz, I'm like, I'm so down for it and so happy for him. Wonder Kid from Berlin, it's like the furthest away from California, ended up going pro for one of the biggest brands in skateboarding. It's like, it doesn't seem real. Just to see all the hard work, and it's just like, I was like, this is the chance, man. And to see him actually go through, put the work in and actually make it happen, he sees the opportunity, which is fucking epic.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, Justin is really, really hyped to get tricks. He never stops. He's the one who can try for hours, at a time, and he never gives up until it gets dark or his board breaks or whatever stops him,
He knows what he wants, and he tries to reach his goals no matter what. If he wants something and he puts it into his mind, so he will do it.
It gives me good feeling, It's like when I'm depressed, when I have shit, like things at home, I go out, I film a trick, and it's the best feeling. Like when you land a trick, gives me a hype for like the whole day, Feel good, sleep good. I think that's the main reason, like, gives me just a good feeling. For the young kids, just do what you love. Don't be too mad at yourself if you don't have a sponsor, if you don't film a trick, or if you don't win a contest. Like, just do what you love and have fun with your friends. Just keep doing it. Let's see.
Thanks for checking out this video. Click subscribe.
Make sure to hit the subscribe button and
make sure you hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the newest Santa Cruz videos.
Subscribe to the Santa Cruz YouTube channel.
Leave a like, drop a comment, check out the other videos on the Santa Cruz YouTube, and have a good day, guys.